So I was recently asked by one of my viewers how to create a coil or a spring in Illustrator. And I've got a few examples here that were created using one solid stroke. And I just edited the tops and the bottoms to create that finished spring shape. Now these springs are fully editable. You can use the Reshape tool in order to squish them down or stretch them out and get the exact shape that you're looking for the spring. So keep watching this video and I'll show you how to make springs in Illustrator. So to get started, I'm going to use one of Illustrator's base tools under the line segment tool, and that tool is called the spiral tool. So when you draw out your first spiral, by default, it doesn't really look like much. Kind of looks like a little bit of a shell shape on its side. And we're going to use this tool to create our spring shape. So we're going to delete that and we're going to recreate our spiral, but we need the tool to be active in order to make changes to it. So keep your mouse button pressed. And when you press Shift, you'll notice that you constrain the angle of the spiral. And when you press Command or Control on the PC, you'll notice that the segments move in and out closer to each other. So what we want to do is we want these segments to be lined up, and we want the anchor points to be at the top and bottom and the two sides. Now if you let go of Shift for a sec and you press the up and down arrow keys, you'll notice that when you press down, it removes line segments, and when you press up, it adds more line segments. So I want to add enough line segments to create 6 complete revolutions within the center of my spring shape. So I'm just going to count out 3, 6, okay? And then add enough segments to go right up to the top of the inner circle. So now we have 3, 6, and the end part is at the very top. So that's what we want. So I'm going to just continue making this bigger, and I'm still pressing Shift the entire time. Now to move this up a bit, we need to press the space bar, and we're going to grab this, move it up to the top, press Shift to constrain, make it even bigger, and then press Command or Control, and then move this in until all of the line segments from our spiral overlap each other. Or try to get this as close to overlapping as possible. So the bigger you make the shape, the more chance that you're going to be able to overlap all of these lines. Now what we need to do is scale down this circular shape. Move this into the middle of our work area. And we need to compress this so that it looks like it's more on a 3-dimensional space. So we need to go into the Transform panel, and we can go under the Height adjustment. And under the Height adjustment, I'm just going to add in a slash and the number 3. So Illustrator will do the math for us, and it will divide our height by 3. Now we have the base of our spring, and now we just need to bring our spring up. So we're going to use another tool called the Reshape tool, and that's located under the Scale tool. So if you click on Reshape, and you're going to need to zoom in all the way in until you see the anchors. Now the key here is to actually grab the anchor that is at the end of our spring. If you grab any of these other anchor points, you're going to deform the spring. So we need to grab this anchor point, and you need to bring that up. And then slowly zoom out. Make sure to grab that end anchor point again. And again, scale it up, zoom out. And I'm pressing Shift the entire time just to constrain it and keep it constrained so that I don't deform my spring shape. Now to finish this off though, we need to do a few things, because you'll notice that using the Reshape tool, it limits the amount of space that it puts between the first few segments. but the segments on the inside get spaced out a lot more. So what I like to do is, just to finish off this spring shape, is I select these first two segments and I cut these. I go up to the top bar here and select this icon that says cut path at selected anchor points. And then I select these bottom two as well, and I trim those as well. So now you can select this top part of the spring, which is the first coil, and you can delete that. And then we can select the next part of our coil at the bottom, and we can delete that as well. Now select this top portion of the spring and press Shift to constrain and move it down until the anchor points snap together. And it's handy to have the smart guides enabled, and that'll help you snap these anchor points together. Now, once you have those snapped together, you can select the anchor points, go up top to the little icon in the center here, and click on Connect Selected Endpoints, and that will reconnect those anchor points together to create a solid shape. Now, at this point, you may notice that if you move this anchor point out of the way, that there are actually overlapping anchors, because these 2 points didn't actually align properly when we joined them. So for this, you may need to download a free script that is available online that will remove overlapping anchors. And I have this script installed, so I'm going to go to File, Scripts, and Merge Overlapped Anchors. And that will run, and it will remove any overlapping anchors. And now I am back to only one anchor point, which is exactly what I want. So now I'm also going to select this bottom part and move this up and snap it into position. And select the two anchor points, reconnect them, clicking on the Connect Selected Endpoints button. And I also may need to remove an anchor point. Looks like there's an extra one there. So I'm going to go back to File, Scripts, Merge Overlapped Anchors. And now I just have the one anchor point. At this point, to finish off our spring, I'm just going to bring down a guide and lock it on to this anchor point here. And another guide, lock on to this anchor point here. And then I'm going to select these 2 points. And using my Reshape tool, I'm just going to drag this down, pressing Shift to constrain it until this anchor point here lines up with my guide line. And then do the same thing at the bottom. Click on Reshape and then press Shift to constrain and drag that up until the anchor points are aligned. Now we can remove our guidelines, round out the ends of our spring, and we can thicken up our lines and even add some color to it using a gradient. And there is our finished spring shape. Now again, the spring you can still edit by selecting the entire spring, clicking on Reshape, grabbing this top anchor point and dragging it up. And you can stretch the coil out, or you can squish the coil in. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video on how to make a spring in Illustrator. If you liked what you saw, please hit the like button, it helps me a lot, and consider subscribing so that you don't miss any of my future videos. Thanks for watching.